Hey, welcome to Point Black, where real people meet real issues, and we don't talk around them, we cut straight to the point. I'm Adolphus Pruitt, and today we have back with us the founder of the Perkins Institute, Omar Perkins. Omar is an expert, an AI strategist, and organizational psychologist. Every time I see that, organizational psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
So you organize psychs?
Well, I help organizations get a better return on their investment, and it all starts with the psyche.
It all starts with the psyche. I
It
heard
starts
that.
with the psyche.
You know, when we left off last week, and we was all into this AI and everything this and about it and this, but I told the folks, I said, listen, the show we gonna do, part 2, is gonna deal with AI and education. I mean, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if we believe that AI is going to dictate future jobs, AI is going to dictate future medicine, AI is going to dictate everything you can imagine that we do now without AI, AI is going to be doing some part of it. If we believe that, and I do, and if you do, then Brother Perkins, if we're not educating our children on AI, we set them up for failure.
Correct. Before we start, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for having me on again. It's nothing like being around you distinguished gentlemen. I appreciate that.
Did that include BJ and Vidal? You said distinguished gentlemen?
Yeah, with the S.
Oh,
plural.
Man, he said there, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, don't worry. We correct that. We edit that out. Go ahead, Brother Perkins.
I really do like the question that you asked. When we think about AI and we think about professions, we have to think about some of these professions that will be eliminated with AI. And when we think about that, we have to start thinking about the population and the pool of employees that we are developing. And those are we talking about some of our high school students. So in the next 4 years, they'll be out in the job market, correct? If you're a freshman, they'll be out in the job market, which means that they'll be out in the job market that consists of a lot of tech and a lot of AI. So to answer your question, yes, if your student is in a school district that has not put some emphasis on artificial intelligence, you might want to start talking to your school district and your superintendent, because we have seen, the studies have shown that in the next 5 years that artificial intelligence will be one of the biggest disruptors. So what we have to do is we have to cultivate a mindset that our students are able to use artificial intelligence in a proper way. And that is not by banning it, that is by creating a structure where the people that are our instructors and our teachers actually use AI in a way that they're able to help their students to use AI.
So, you know, when we talk about AI in the schools and the students, you know, a lot of folks say, well, they using AI to do their work for them. They're not getting any critical thinking. They're not learning anything. They're just coming up with AI, have AI type their term papers, or AI do this and do that. Is that the hesitation with schools formally adopting AI into their curriculum and into everything they do? That's number one. And two, are there ones in the city or the county that are doing that? They're not afraid. They're doing it.
Okay. So the first question is a little Byzantine, because I think that a lot of the schools and a lot of the school districts aren't able to create policies because AI is just moving so fast. So you have a lot of people in these school districts that are IT people and not AI people. See, an IT person is going to come in here and tell you how and why your email is not going through. an AI specialist or a strategic strategist is going to tell you what AI systems you should use in your district that will benefit your students, instructors, as well as your people in your neighborhoods. So it's not that the schools and the school districts are straying away from AI. I just don't know that if they have the right governance and guidance to create a policy that will help them implement and integrate AI into the classroom. What was your second question?
So wait a minute. Are there districts that are
Yes.
integrating into the classroom?
We have some districts that are. I won't say the ones aren't. I'll just say a couple of them that are. We're talking about Hancock. We're talking about Ladue. Those are some of the proactive districts that are creating policies that aren't just saying what AI can't do, but how they're going to implement it into their classroom. Now, let me say this. There is a difference between implementing AI into your school and implementing it into your classroom.
Okay.
When you implement into your school, that could be a chat bot that answers the phone for the attendants. So when you call and have your student that's sick or whatnot, you don't talk to an actual person, you just relay the information to a chat bot. Now, that's AI in the school. AI in the classroom is more of an instructor or teacher that has worked with AI that understands how to prompt it so that students can't leverage AI to cheat, right?
Got it.
That's as easy as saying, I was just at an AI conventions, ASU, GSV, and what they were saying is a lot of the people in education right now are hesitant to use AI because right now we have some of the lowest rate of teachers going into the classroom, right? So you have a lot of teachers that are standoff because they feel that AI will take their job, even to the point that we have some school districts that are getting teachers from Vietnam, right, to come over. We'll come back to that show later. But in actuality, what we have to do is we have to provide more professional development, and your president has signed that executive order to do that professional development to help teachers to understand AI so that they can create lesson plans and lessons so that the student can't cheat.
So you mentioned a couple of, so ladies and gentlemen, the ones who are listening out from St. Louis, because you know this thing goes everywhere, he mentioned a couple of school districts that are all being proactive in bringing AI into the school and the classroom, and those are out in the county, in the suburbs.
Ladue, Lindbergh, and Hancock Place are the ones that I know for sure.
Yeah, those in the suburbs.
Correct.
But in the inner ring suburbs, which are predominantly black school district, and in the city of St. Louis, whether they a public school or a charter school, again, are predominantly black. Are you seeing any of that in any of these school districts?
You're going to have people trying to get me. Okay, so let me say this. There are certain districts that are being more proactive and see AI as an opportunity rather than a risk. Those are the school districts that will flourish, and their students will be able to flourish in the when they graduate and they go into the work world. Now, why I think that some county schools have not adopted that frame of thinking is because, like I said, AI is moving so fast that you really have to have an AI specialist, almost an expert now, that is able to almost foresee the future. So it goes back to this, right? And this is what I think about schools. When Ford asked people back in the days, what did they want from transportation? They said that they wanted bigger horses and bigger wheels. Ford was like, we about to use petroleum and steam. Right. And I think that that's where our schools are now. They don't know what questions to ask because they don't have that specialty or that expertise in their school.
Well, I guess I tend to disagree a little bit because all you hear about is AI.
Correct.
All you hear about is that what it's going to do and how it's taking over. So they know about it. And unless they living in a cave somewhere, they hearing the same thing we're hearing.
Correct.
And so my question is that, again, if you hearing this, you the principal, you the superintendent, you whoever, and you hearing this, don't you think that at some point in time you have to be saying that, hey, we are behind the ball on this. We need to get in front of this. We need to figure out how because a good example is if we came out with some new math, new curriculum, the school would say, hey, we need to get that curriculum and get it into the school.
Correct.
They'd go out and buy the book. They'd go out and get the curriculum. They would train the teachers. They would do everything.
Correct.
But they would say, we need to implement this new curriculum because this is the new math.
Right.
Am I right or wrong?
You are right. But see, there's a caveat to that. Because when you say the new math, there's no dark side to new math. With AI, there's still that dark side that they're kind of scared of a little bit.
But what our point is that math is the math that those kids will have to have in order to be employed and fit in with society in the future.
Correct.
So that's why they implement it.
Correct.
They may not even like it, but it's like, hey, we don't have much of a choice. That's what everybody's going to be using.
Yeah.
And so I just don't understand. So why would they feel the same way about AI? To me, is logical.
Sound like common sense, right? Critical thinking. When you think about it, right? It's like critical thinking.
Well, no, it's like saying that, hey, I am in charge.
Mm-hmm.
It is my job to prepare these students for the future. Mm-hmm. And I'm hearing this AI and believing it that that's the future. So now, if I'm hearing it and I'm believing it and I'm saying my mission is to prepare my kids for the future, and I'm not bringing that I'm not exposing them to that, I'm not bringing it into what we do, then I'm not necessarily serious when I say I want to prepare my kids for the future. BJ's trying to get in. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more on Point Blank. We got Omar Perkins, the Perkins Institute in the house. And ladies and gentlemen, BJ ready to get on me. So I don't know we'll be back. We're going to have to cut to another break. And we're back. We got Omar Perkins, the Perkins Institute, our AI strategist, our AI expert. We got BJ in the house. We got Vidal in the house. And we're talking about AI in education. And I was just pontificating as to why I believe our school districts and the leaderships may not be serious about preparing our kids for the future if they're not trying to bring AI into those kids' learning experience. And BJ was about to disagree with me. He didn't say what he was going to do. But when he looked at me, I'm saying, I'm in trouble. What's going on, BJ?
Let me say this. When you go in anything that you purchase something that you understand. Like when you buy a vehicle. It's not that you don't want to buy the vehicle. You have to understand the vehicle so you can justify, hey, why am I doing this? Same thing with the school district. Mm-hmm. They just can't go, we're going to implement AI. Because you got to understand, these are public institutions. And you got all these opinions that are out there that you have to make sure that they understand and they get what you are implementing in your school. You know what I'm saying?
I don't buy it.
Huh?
I don't buy it.
I don't know, but it's the truth.
Yes,
no, it's the truth. It's the truth. Mm-hmm. Because before a school district can do something, they have to, like he said, you got to go through policies. Then there's this group, got their opinion. This group got their opinion.
So I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because he said policies.
Yeah.
The Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education runs Missouri schools and regulates schools in Missouri.
Correct.
And ladies and gentlemen, you're not from Missouri. You got something like the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education in your state.
Correct.
So are policies being implemented in coming down from the school districts to the schools, not only in Missouri, but are there examples from across the country?
Yes, so that's a great question. So what happens is Department of Education, Secondary Education, what they do is they create guidelines. They don't create the actual policies. They really allow the school districts to create the policy. So getting back to what both of you guys are saying.
So they have artistic freedom.
Pretty much, yes. And you want that because every school district is different. Mm-hmm. Why I say that is because BJ is right. You want to make sure that what everybody is saying is true. Therefore, you have to have the
Hold on,
experts.
man. You can't come on my show and agree with
No,
BJ.
I'm agreeing with you next.
Okay. I feel better.
okay.
I feel better.
You know what? Guess what?
What?
You can't do that.
Okay.
Because you know what?
You can hit that button, right?
He will be silent.
Okay.
BJ, leave the buttons alone, BJ.
Okay.
BJ, Vidal, handcuff him.
So one person you need to agree with.
Oh yes, sir.
'Cause I can
see, I
silence
hit
you
first.
too.
Yes, sir. Yes, I went to BJ
Oh,
first.
my God.
But that comes in what BJ was talking about. That still comes into the 3 pillars that we were talking about. You still have to have that open mindset to say, okay, maybe this is or maybe this isn't. But you have to have the mindset, and that always comes back to what you're talking about as far as why haven't they implemented it? Well, they probably haven't implemented because unlike math that doesn't have a dark side, you're competing with propaganda that says that AI is going to make our kids stupid. Not only that, but AI is going to take our jobs. Once we can cultivate a mindset that we look at AI as an opportunity for enhancement, just like we looked at our scientific calculators, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget in 1986, they were trying to put Texas Instrument out of business for making scientific calculators. Now you can't go into a high school without seeing scientific calculators. This is what AI is.
So wait a minute. Now, so BJ,
Let me say this.
Yes, sir.
To your point of what you're saying, y'all talking about implementing math. They just don't go, we're going to implement this new math.
Right.
It's the same process as with AI.
I agree.
And then the new math can have a dark side as well that you got to filter through just like with AI.
But BJ, my point I was trying to get at, they adopt the new math in their curriculum, and I'm not saying they rush it in, but they convert. They start bringing it in, and they move at a distance to where it's converted, where the old math is not there, the new math is there now. They do that. I'm just what I'm getting
Saying
at
why
is,
is AI doing that?
Well, let's. He gave me an example, BJ. I don't know if you remember where you talked about the teacher in the class with 30 kids and the tablets.
Oh yeah.
Give him that example.
So that's when I first started speaking earlier, I was talking about how people in education are at almost a standstill about where education can go because there's not a lot of teachers right now going into teaching. But in the tech world, we don't feel that way. We feel that tech is going to usher in a different type of teacher. It won't be that traditional teacher that went to school to teach. It's going to be someone that has probably some type of tech background that is able to use tech and manipulate it. So this is what the classrooms look like from where I've been going, for the EdTech conference that I've been going to. You will have us 4 in a classroom. BJ, you read, you learn different. You learn with hands-on skills. You learn with more audio skills.
I'm on the little yellow bus. Huh?
Yeah, you on a little yellow bus because we're in the 5th grade and you reading at a 3rd grade level. You reading at a 4th grade level, and I'm reading at a 2nd grade level. And what usually would happen is sometime during the day in the free time,
What about Vidal?
he's reading that level.
He can't read.
He reading that level.
He's reading at kindergarten. Okay.
He can't read.
But what happens is usually in school districts and schools, they then will have special programming for that student where they will bring them out of the class and then they will learn about something else. Well, that's in the school districts that have time to have free time. Most of the North County schools don't have free time, so the students get pulled out during a time where they need to be. So what EdTech has done is they have learned how to create assessment tools through AI so students, everybody in our classroom will have an IEP, an individual education plan.
Education plan, yeah.
They will have a tablet. The tablet will teach them how they learn. You, me, and you learn differently, right? So your tablet will have audio. Yours will be hands-on. Mine will be kinetic, right? Now this is the caveat.
But we're learning the same thing.
We're learning the same thing.
Mary had a little lamb.
We're all learning about, let's just say we're all learning about Philadelphia. We're learning about landmarks, where Philadelphia is. We're doing geography, right? We're all learning that. But instead, your tablet's doing something different. Your tablet's doing different. My tablet's doing different.
But we're coming up with the exact same.
We're coming up with the same thing. And now this is what happens. Now this is why we usher out the old teachers and we usher in the new teachers, because now that teacher has an AI earpiece in that says, hey, BJ struggling on number 3. So he comes over to you and he looks at your tablet. He understands how you learn. So he's able to help you with that question. And then he hears it again. Omar has a problem with number 4. He comes and sees my tablet. Now he knows how to teach me. This is where the burnout doesn't happen for teachers. When a teacher has a problem, when I have a problem and the teacher comes talk to me, he's teaching all of us the same way. So he'll get frustrated if I don't understand the same way that BJ understands, the same way that Pruitt understands. Now I can look at this tablet, who is actually an instructor inside of the tablet, and I can be more human with my students, right? Because now I don't have to say, BJ, you know what, forget it. I can't, you sit over there. No, I understand how to talk to you and I know how to teach it. And that's where education is going.
And I'm glad you used the tablet example because, and that's a prime example. All our kids got them.
Yes.
Not really.
And no, I mean, parents are buying right now, you know, even for the little kids, they buying them the tablets that teach them
They got
colors.
phones.
Well, that too, but a lot of them, but they got those tablet toys. Because I buy them for my grandkids too.
Well, see, you had a different economic status.
Oh my God.
I mean, for real, I got to throw that out there
Oh my.
because there are
BJ,
you know,
BJ, you
there
got
are-
BJ, you got poor people who buying Nikes and Jordans.
I know, but at the same
tell
time,
us, right.
but at the same time,
You got-
but at the same time, not buying tablets.
Well,
Well, look, can I say something about that?
But I'm just throwing that out.
I know.
Right,
got you.
right.
I got you.
Well, as far as AI, we're going to see a surge of a lot of AI tech coming in because the president just signed that executive order that's called the Advanced Artificial Intelligence Education for America's Youth.
I want to go in depth on that,
Okay.
but I read something, and here, BJ, this was interesting. It says this was an article, and it said that that teachers across the United States are seeing a notable decline in students' ability to perform basic life skills, such as tying shoelaces, opening snacks, and remembering addresses, skills that previous generations learned much earlier and often practiced independently. Teachers report that many children, including those in elementary and even high school, struggle with these tasks, and some students never practice them at home. Educators cite these, and they said, then they go back and said, many teachers attribute this decrease in skills to overprotective parenting styles, the rise of digital devices, and a shift towards parents prepping or completing basic tasks for their children. Schools are increasing technology reliance at the expense of manual skills, such as cutting with scissors. Teachers observe that parents are outsourcing critical life skills development, expecting educators to fill the gaps. I thought that was interesting because they brought in the digital piece. So they basically saying that they don't have the life skills, and they blaming it again on what you said, the phones, the digital stuff. It's what you Omar, what's the problem, Mr. AI psychologist?
Well, let me say this. With AI, there is a dark side. I don't want to make it seem like it's all just unicorns and fluff. I don't. But in our community, if I were to be the doomsday guy, it would keep us away from actually learning about this tool. Now, let me play devil's advocate. If they would have done that study in 1985, what would they say? Would they say the same thing, that since television has come about, that their kids aren't doing this, and this, and this? Why I said that is because every so often we have disruptors. AI is the disruptor. It's going to disrupt things, so kids might not learn how to tie their shoes. I don't know why a kid wouldn't know how to tie their shoes, but I can see how a kid could have less cognitive thinking skills because of a tablet. But I think a lot of those things come with the household as well.
Well, you know, the way I look at it, there's a lot of things that a lot of kids don't know and able to do that's like people in my generation. All right?
Right.
And we talk about that all the time. But we don't look at there's a lot of things that we don't do, people in my generation don't do, that my parents did.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
So everything is constantly evolving.
Yes.
Sure.
You know, I mean, think about it. We used to watch this program on TV, and for those of you way back in the day, it was called the Jetsons.
Yes.
What is that?
No,
I'm just
it's a little cartoon.
He know the gist.
Yeah, they was a little cartoon where they flying around everywhere, like
Right.
we here on the street, right?
Right.
So the cars flew. All the cars flew. Now look at what's happening. You got the cars that don't have a driver, the Uber cars. You got people coming up with things that can fly. You
remember it had the maid too? Remember it had the maid?
Yeah.
Elon's he's already got that out.
That's
that
what I'm
robot already
saying.
out. Yeah.
They had the maid, they got the robots, they got this was said, what was that? When was the Jetsons out? Back in the 70s?
Yeah, it
Had to be.
Yeah.
It had to be the 70s.
So this is not any I feel like what I'm trying to say is this is not anything new.
No, in a way, it's not. But now you said the president. You talking about that president we got in Washington,
the one you voted
D.C.?
for. The one you voted for.
The Trump guy.
Yeah, the guy you voted for.
Okay, he said I voted for him. Okay, well, listen, I need to go cash in. Everybody else is. I need BJ. I need my bag. But what's this executive order now? Deal with AI and education?
So President Trump is trying to make sure that our students are on track to be as competitive as every other country throughout the world. With that, he feels that adopting AI in our school systems while working with advanced AI companies will help our students to develop skills that will make them favorable to be employed. Why this is so important is because depending on your student's school district will depend on what AI they will get. So even though he's made this executive order, if you are in a school district that is slow or are waiting on another district, that same monies and whatnot that will go to a district that's being proactive, it might not come to you until late.
Got it.
So it is still going to affect our students, and we still have to have that open mindset of trying to learn as much about artificial intelligence. So when it does come to your kid's classroom, you know about it. I know when my son came home with that new math, I was talking about carry the one. He like, we don't do that. It threw me off. So I think that we're going to have to do, especially with school districts here, they're going to have to bring in the parents as well so that they can start educating them on these things, on these topics. Because if I used to be an admissions rep, and we used to say if a kid like it, it's great. But if a parent loves it, that's even better. So what we have to do is we have to educate our community so that we're not so closed-minded and we're open to what the schools are bringing in because it's the president. And guess what? If you want to get the money, you're going to do what the president says.
Well, at least you're going to do what he says as it relates to getting that money.
Yeah, as far as getting the money, you're right.
But I guess what I'm getting at is that do you know if districts are taking advantage of it and they actually are pulling down this money that's been set aside to integrate AI in the educational system?
I think some are the ones that we spoke about earlier. I think they're figuring out how to get those monies, but I think that some of the school districts aren't even focused on the money aspect yet, but as far as they're more focused on creating a plan where they're able to not just integrate it into their school, but into their classroom, and that is a big step. That's a lot of training. That's from the top down of training.
So wait a minute. Let me ask the question different. If you had the ability or the task to go out here and get districts, show them how, and begin to implement AI in the classrooms, what would you do first?
Great question. And this is a shameless plug on my behalf, but I've just been appointed to be the director of Tech STL.
Okay.
And Tech STL is a tech council that pretty much works like the United Way of Tech. And what they do is they distribute resources to companies and startups that need tech. So with that being said, we are offering an olive branch to all of the school districts to help them develop policies, guidelines, and infrastructures so that they're able to not just implement it into their school district, but into their school. And that comes with, like I said, that comes with us creating PDs for them, as well as showing them how to maximize these ed techs, AI, that they already have in their school district. But like I said, it's hard to implement those things if you don't have an AI expert to do it.
And what is it? What would the credentials for an AI expert look like? How,
We're talking about anyone that has dealt with learning, machine learning, that knows how to train large language models. Those are people. We're talking about computer science majors that specialize in generative and agentic AI. We're looking for people that not only are computer scientists but have the know-how of how AI works. And it's not a lot of us because this is new. But the goal is to get school districts to just start thinking about it, start playing with it, start asking questions to their students as well as their employers. What do you know? What do you not know? How do we fill those gaps? And that's the main thing, is how do we fill the gaps so our instructors and teachers are able to help our students utilize AI?
So you got family members who are working with their kids, their grandkids, nieces and nephews. We all have a bunch of younger relatives. What should we be doing to try to expose them to AI, and what's the good AI to expose them to?
That's a great question. Well, if you're interested in AI, we have a event coming up on December the 2nd for Black Tech STL, and you can learn about tech and the next steps from there. We'll have a panel with 4 of some of the most distinguished tech engineers as well as co-founders. And what I would say is just start playing with them. Go into them, and just like you would when you first started using the internet, right? Go into it and play with it. Ask it questions. The best part about using these large language models like ChatGPT and Gemini and Google is that most of these are come with a large security, meaning that a lot of your information hopefully will not get out to who you don't want it to get out to.
And I'm glad you said that, because two parents and older adults whom want to have a better understanding of issues that are going on, want to just have a better knowledge of different things, even the medicine they take and this and that.
Correct.
You mentioned chat, you got Perplexity, you got all these other things which are AI.
Correct.
They should be getting exposed to it, because I think they would truly enjoy the fact that, hey, I see something on TV or hear something, I don't need to wait to ask my older daughter or my older son or that. I can type that in and get the answer to it. Ladies, we'll be right back with more on Point Black. And we back. I'm Adolphus Pruitt. We got Omar Perkins of the Perkins Institute in the house. He's our AI specialist. He knows it in and out. Matter of fact, I believe this boy has something to do with creating AI. He just ain't saying nothing because he don't want us to know he got that big bag hidden somewhere. He got some AI crypto or something going on. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry. When he get out of here, we're going to shake him down. But hey, so parents, we talking about AI in the schools, and it needs to be in there. And as parents, and how do we approach the school? Do we just go to board meeting and start yelling and going off, saying I want it in here? What's a good approach for especially parent organizations?
Well, first thing I would do is say just do as much investigating into AI as possible. And what I mean by that is you want to know what questions to ask your school district, right? AI is so new that some of the questions that you have in your head, they might already be answered by doing just a little bit of investigation. Now, what we want to, after doing the investigation, we want to make sure that our school districts are making sure that we're not replacing the student thinking. We're just trying to enhance how a student thinks, correct? So therefore, as a parent, I want to make sure that the lesson plans are AI proof, meaning that my student shouldn't be able to cheat with it.
Right.
Meaning that the person that gave the student the actual lesson understands AI themselves. So the questions would be is how much professional development has my student's teacher had? How much have we invested into figuring out what our students are already using as far as AI tools so that we're able to enhance those things?
Do you think that this is boy BJ? Now I'm going to jump off the ledge. Do you think that parent groups and neighbor groups should be saying, "Listen, we want to float a tax increase, a bond issue, to get all for the districts to hire these AI specialists and to get these tools in the classroom and begin to convert our district over where we are teaching our kids how to use AI." Do you think that's a route we should go?
So that's a good question. My late great uncle Glenn Howard, who was the senator of Indiana, told me if you want to fix a problem, you have to fix the problem. So what I would tell every organization, neighborhood group, or any activist, do your research on AI and you become the expert. Then you offer your services. And that's the whole thing of why we created the 3 pillars of positive AI, so that we can stop having the fixed mindset and have the growth mindset to get into AI. We need people like us to be into AI so they can ask those questions, because those are the professionals and those are the experts.
Oh, there's some websites where people can go and see examples of AI in schools?
Yes, you can. Actually, you could do exactly what I did to figure out what policies and procedures district have. Go on the internet and put it in. Put your school district in and ask it, what are the policies? And most of them aren't public, but most of them will give you a brief synopsis of what their policies look like and if they're creating more policies.
Yeah, because, BJ, of course you remember, BJ, ladies and gentlemen, out in one of the St. Louis's counties, the folks, actually all across the country, the folks were boycotting books, saying what books they can have in the library that they wanted their kids exposed to. And it took off. There were school districts that took books out of the library and libraries who restricted books and did that. So what I'm saying is these parents, when they grab hold of something, they had the power to actually push and drive policy. And I just think that in the African American community and African American school districts, that's what we're gonna have to do.
Yes.
I think we're gonna have to say, hey, listen, I do not want my kid to graduate from high school and he knows less about AI than the kid down the road who graduated from a predominantly white classroom or this and that. And now when it comes to getting a job, my kid can't compete against him.
Correct.
That's and I think that's what. And I don't know how we can say it more, shout it out at the top of our lungs, but it's coming, ain't it?
Yes, and just like we have groups that want to bring those books back, we have groups that want to take the books away. It's going to be the same way with AI. We're going to have groups of parents and organizations that are going to want to push AI in their school, and then you're going to have groups, once people start getting educated, that want to take AI out of the schools. But the main thing is you have to have the information. And that's what our population doesn't have. We're not investing in AI in order to figure out how it works, why it works, and why it does that.
So how do we do that? How do we begin to educate our communities on the importance of learning about AI, especially for our children? How do we do that? Newsletters?
If you were asking me how to do that with real estate, I'll tell you the same thing. Take some classes. Go on Coursera. They got $59 classes. You can take some classes and learn. The objective is to learn as much as possible so that you can make the educated decision on what you want to do with AI.
But I'm talking about more is how do we begin to, we're doing it here on the radio. Correct. We have this forum and people are learning about it. But how do we continue to reinforce this and push it? Is it mainly trying to get with parent group organizations and continue to put it in front of them? Or is it mainly some sort of campaign like you do people running for office?
I think all of those things. I think that's what we're going to have to do, right? When we talked to when gasoline was first put on the map to put in cars, they went 3 or 4 different campaigns. I think that that's what we're going to have to do in our community. We're going to have to hit it at 3 or 4 different ways. So you have groups like Black Tech STL, but you also have groups like SLDC, and these are resources that are available right now that a lot of people just haven't tapped into because AI is so new.
Now you said something earlier. I'm gonna go back to,
Yes, sir.
because you mentioned that some of the fear with AI is that in the classroom or in the schools is that it's going to take their jobs. Now, isn't it true to some degree that that's ultimately what's going to happen if AI gets fully implemented in the education system?
So when I hear people say that AI is going to take my job, I don't see it that way. I see AI as taking some of your jobs away from you, meaning that some of your repetitive processing, some of those things might be taken away. But the difference between an AI doing a job and a human doing a job is the personality of it. I know for sure as a parent, I still want that personal, human-centered approach when it comes to dealing with my students. But at the same time, I understand that there is going to be a disruption in the way that my student that will then be graduating finds a job, right? It used to be you fill out a resume and you wait for someone to call you.
Mm-hmm.
In a couple of years, it's not even going to be that much. It's going to be that if you don't have the keywords on your resume, you won't even get past the automatic tracking system. And if you don't understand AI, you won't understand what those keywords are. So those are just some of the things that AI is into so much that it is going to it's going to be one of those things that it's going to be between someone that knows AI and someone that doesn't know AI. The person that knows AI is going to get the position.
Got you. Well, listen, man, it has been a pleasure to have you back on the show, man.
Always.
Omar Perkins, the Perkins Institute, our AI expert. And, I mean, he educated me, BJ, and Vidal a little bit on this, even though, some of them guys were on that little yellow bus. I ain't going to tell you which one it was. It wasn't me. I was on the skateboard, holding on to the back of the bus. That's how I got to school, BJ. So we'll be back with more on Point Black. Appreciate you listening. You all hold it down.
Thank you so much.